Before we begin, take a breath. This isn't just a podcast, it's a new way to think, speak, and live in English. Welcome to Confluent Podcast, where words flow, confidence grows, and every sip brings you closer to fluency.
I love that intro.
Right. It really sets the tone. So let me ask you something. Are you counting down the days until you can retire?
Oh, I mean, who isn't, right? That's the dream.
Well, exactly. But what if reaching that finish line is actually the worst thing you could do for your happiness?
Yeah, and potentially your physical survival, too.
Exactly. So today on the Deep Dive, we are jumping into a totally different way of thinking. We're looking at a broadcast from the creator of the Confluent podcast.
Yeah, and the source material is fascinating because, it blends English fluency training with this really deep, life-altering philosophy.
It really does. The core of what we're looking at today is this radical redefinition of words we use every day, like work, jobs, and this whole modern obsession we have with retirement.
Right, because we tend to conflate two very different words, don't we?
We absolutely do.
We use job and work like they mean the exact same thing, but untangling them is essentially the secret to, well, lifelong vitality.
It's crazy when you realize they aren't the same. And the creator of the Confluent podcast actually shares his own origin story to explain this.
Which is pretty intense, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, from the age of 17 all the way until he was 38.
Yeah.
That's a span of 21 years.
2 decades.
Right. For 21 years, he absolutely hated the idea of work. Just despised it.
I think a lot of people listening can probably relate to that feeling.
Oh, for sure. His ultimate dream during his teens, his 20s, his 30s, it was just to retire early and never work again.
He was very vocal about it too, right?
Yeah, he would literally walk around telling people how much he hated work.
Yeah.
But then there's this massive turning point.
Right, because by the time he hits age 52, his mindset has completely flipped.
Totally reversed. Now his plan is to never, ever, ever retire.
Wow. From hating it to never wanting to stop.
Exactly. And the turning point wasn't some magical surge of energy. It was realizing he was caught in this, vocabulary trap.
A lexical trap.
Yeah. He realized he didn't hate work, he hated jobs.
Which is such a massive distinction. I mean, psychologically speaking, the difference between a job and meaningful work is huge.
So how does the material define a job then?
Well, a job is basically when you're an employee, you're getting a paycheck from someone else, and you have almost zero control.
Right, no autonomy.
Exactly. You're told, you have to be here from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Monday to Friday.
And you get, maybe 2 weeks of vacation a year if you're lucky?
Right. It's an extrinsic motivation. You're only doing it for the external reward, the money.
But then what is work in this context? Or a vocation?
Work is defined just as focused effort and action. It doesn't have to be paid by an employer.
Like raising kids, right? The source uses that example.
Oh, that's the perfect example. I mean, raising children takes an immense amount of effort.
The schedule is grueling.
Yeah, the discipline required is insane. It is undeniably work.
But it's not a job.
No one is paying you a salary to raise your baby. But it's driven by intrinsic motivation. You do it for the profound meaning of it.
That makes so much sense. It kind of sounds like the difference between running on a treadmill in a basement because someone is paying you to generate electricity. That's a job.
Sweating in a dark basement. Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Right. Versus, say, hiking up a mountain because you want to see the view.
Yeah.
That's work.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, because both of them make you sweat. Both are exhausting. But only one of them actually makes you happy.
Because on the mountain, you chose to be there. You have agency.
Exactly. And the material points out that because we confuse these two things, we create this really artificial and dangerous finish line.
The retirement trap?
Yes. The lethal myth of the magic number.
It really is lethal. Society conditions us so heavily for this.
It's everywhere. We're told that at this magic number, like 50 or 60 or 65, we're just supposed to stop.
Just pack it up and stop working entirely, even if you actually enjoy what you do.
Which is wild. And the source highlights a really dark statistical reality here.
The 2-year window.
Yeah. Many people, particularly men, who retire and lose that daily purpose, they end up dying within just 2 years.
It's terrifying. 2 years after you finally reach the finish line.
Why does that happen? I mean, biologically, what's going on there?
Well, it's about how the brain and the body interpret that sudden, permanent rest.
Like it's a signal to shut down.
Exactly. Without a meaningful focus or, daily challenges, retirees often just default to passivity.
Sitting in front of the television all day.
Right. And your biology looks at that lack of contribution and basically says, oh, the mission is over.
Wow.
Yeah, you lose your place in the game of society.
The material actually mentions that feeling like a parasite or just feeling completely useless.
And feeling useless is toxic to a human being. It leads to emotional depression, boredom, and then just rapid physical and mental atrophy.
Which perfectly explains that crazy contrast the creator notes about Russia.
Oh, the pension age protests?
Yeah, so in Russia, the government raised the retirement age,
Yes.
right? To 65 for men and 60 for women.
And the citizens were absolutely furious.
But the nuance there is so important. They weren't upset because they were being robbed of meaningful work.
Right, they were upset because they absolutely hate their jobs.
Exactly. They're on that basement treadmill, and they just want the pension sooner to escape the misery.
Which is just jumping from one terrible extreme to another, from a toxic job straight into total passivity.
So if you're listening to this right now, you really have to think about your own timeline.
Yeah, are you waiting for a magical age to actually start living?
Because postponing your engagement with life is incredibly dangerous.
You're just rusting your gears, basically.
Right. So if traditional retirement is a trap, who is modeling the right way to age?
Well, the source points to a really surprising guide for this.
Yeah, an iconic sci-fi actor, William Shatner.
Captain Kirk himself.
Exactly. The creator references a book Shatner wrote called Live Long and.
Which he wrote when he was 86 years old.
86.
Yep.
And he had already written a standard biography at 80. But this new book was all about life lessons.
And it doesn't stop there. The source mentions that at 89, Shatner is still working.
Still working.
Yeah, he's narrating a TV series, and he even started a podcast at 89.
That is incredible. So what is his secret? What's his rule for happiness?
It's surprisingly simple, actually. His rule is do those things that make you happy and don't do those things that make you unhappy.
I mean, that sounds almost too simple.
It does, but his perspective on work is what makes it profound. Shatner views work as the sustenance of life.
Like nutrition.
Exactly like nutrition. It keeps him moving forward. It gives him satisfaction, pride.
It proves he's still a contributing member of society.
Right, and Shatner explicitly states in the book, no one should retire when their work remains pleasurable.
Because retiring to sit on the back porch will atrophy your body and your mind.
That's his direct warning. And it's not just him. The source brings up Pablo Picasso.
Oh, yeah. Picasso was still hard at work when he died at age 91, right?
Right. And even Shatner's own wife. She retired from her official job, but she stayed incredibly busy with other projects.
So the work didn't stop, just the W-2 stopped.
Precisely. There are 3 key aspects of work that Shatner really leans into here.
Okay, what are they?
First, being a contributing member of society. Second, meeting new challenges to keep the brain sharp.
Like starting a podcast at 89.
Exactly. That takes massive cognitive effort.
Yeah.
And third, realizing there are always, more adventures to come.
You have to keep looking forward. But I got to push back on this a little bit.
Okay, go for it.
Saying don't do things that make you unhappy sounds really easy if you're a millionaire Hollywood actor.
Sure, yeah.
But what about the rest of us? People with mortgages and kids. We can't all just walk off a movie set.
That's a fair point. And the source material actually addresses this directly.
It does.
Yeah. It looks at why people stay in jobs they hate. The creator uses an example of a doctor.
Okay, a highly paid professional.
Right. Someone who maybe burns out by age 35, but they stay in medicine for 20 more years.
Even though they're miserable.
Exactly. And they do it because of sunk costs. I spent all this money on med school. I have to keep doing this.
Wow, so they sacrifice decades of their life for a decision they made in their 20s.
Yeah. So the lesson isn't about having $1 million. It's about having the courage to pivot.
Regardless of those sunk costs.
Right. You have to be willing to redefine your life, even if it means downsizing or changing your whole identity.
Because the alternative is just enduring misery until you die.
Pretty much.
And it's not just Hollywood stars or famous painters doing this. This vitality is a timeless truth modeled by everyday people.
Especially the generation right before us.
Yes. The creator of the Colloquial podcast reflects on the wisdom of his own grandmothers.
I love this part of the deep dive.
Me too. One of his grandmothers lived to be 100 years old, a full century.
And what was her secret to a long life?
It was this simple mantra. She just said, stay active, stay active, stay active. Don't become passive.
It's the exact same philosophy as Shatner, just without the fame.
Exactly. And his other grandmother, who is nearly 96, is the exact same way.
What does she do?
She is constantly moving,
Yeah.
cleaning the house, cooking from scratch, just refusing to stop.
And during the live interactions on this source material, a listener named Slavika chimed in.
Oh, right. Slavika shared that her grandmother worked in the garden and cooked every single day until she was 85.
And she was deeply happy.
Because historically, people didn't retire.
Right. Farmers never retired. They worked the family farm until they passed away because it provided for their families and gave them satisfaction.
Just like parents never retire from caring about their kids.
The exertion changes, but the engagement never stops.
So there's a huge connection here between physical motion and emotional momentum.
Oh, absolutely. Passivity kills isn't just a physical truth. It's an emotional and spiritual truth, too.
How so?
Well, engaging with your physical environment, like pulling weeds in a garden or building something, it anchors you to the present moment.
It stops that abstract anxiety.
Exactly. It forces your brain to realize that you have agency in the physical world.
Which brings us to the creator's own personal lifestyle shift.
This is wild. He lived in major cities for a long time, right?
Yeah. Big, hyper-convenient cities like Bangkok and Osaka for 15 to 17 years.
But now he's doing the exact opposite.
Totally. He is moving out to the Japanese countryside.
Why the sudden change?
He wants to avoid the noisy, natureless city life. He bought land an hour outside Osaka to build a house and practice permaculture.
Permaculture, that's serious physical work.
Oh yeah, he's collecting rainwater, raising his kids in nature. He's actively seeking out friction with the physical world.
Instead of sitting indoors and being comfortable, he's engineering challenges.
Right. He even talks about his love for walking for hours on end, like doing these massive pilgrimages in Japan and Spain.
It's just constant forward motion.
But again, I have to ask, you don't need to be 85 or buying a farm in Japan to apply this trick.
No, definitely not.
So how do we redesign our lives right now to avoid this retirement trap?
Well, the core message to the audience from the source material is very blunt. Do not wait until you are 65 to quit a job you hate.
Do not wait.
Right. You have to create an anti-retirement plan right now.
And the creator shares his own method for how he did this before he was successful.
Yeah, he didn't wait until he was rich to take action.
Not at all. Before starting his business, he aggressively cut all his expenses.
He decided he would live in his car if necessary just to buy back his autonomy.
That is a massive psychological commitment.
It is. He worked part-time teaching, just making enough to survive, and it instantly made him happier.
Because he decoupled his survival from his suffering.
Exactly. And the audience examples in the material show everyday people doing this too.
Like Lisa. She's 55 years old, right?
Yeah, and instead of winding down, she just passed a natural healing exam.
Why? Because her boss told her to.
No, just because she was curious and wanted to help people. It's all intrinsic.
And then there's Steve Kaufman, who's in his 70s.
Still actively learning new languages and making podcasts.
Or Sarah, the chemistry teacher. She's already planning to open a flower garden.
They are actively layering meaningful work into their present lives.
But the material also has a really stark warning for people who don't do this.
Right. There was a listener who commented about their job.
Yeah, they said they spent 27 years in a job they actively hated.
27 years. That's devastating.
And the creator's response was just incredible. He didn't sugarcoat it. He explicitly said, I hope you quit.
Sometimes you need that blunt intervention.
You really do. But there's also a really nuanced point brought up by another listener, House One.
Oh, the dosage problem.
Exactly. House One loves their field. The work itself is great. But they feel stressed and burned out working 8 hours a day.
This is so important. Sometimes the work isn't the problem at all. It's the schedule.
The 8-hour workday is just an industrial relic.
Yeah, the creator explains that you can love something, but if you do it for 8 solid hours, you'll eventually hate it.
Like listening to your favorite song on loop all day.
Exactly. Even the creator only works about 2 hours a day on his business.
Wait, really? Only 2 hours?
Yeah. He spends 2 hours on the business, walks for 2 hours, and then spends the rest of the time as a stay-at-home dad.
So he scaled down the hours to save his passion for the work.
Right. You have to take control of the dosage.
And the underlying engine for all of this, the thing that keeps you from burning out or rusting out, is curiosity.
Curiosity is a literal survival tool in this framework.
Losing curiosity is the beginning of the end.
Right. If you stop wondering about the world, your brain stops growing.
Like the listener who got into Charles Dowding's no-dig gardening.
Yes. By continuously starting new projects, you force your brain into a state of active growth.
Okay, let me throw a hypothetical at you.
Sure, what is it?
Let's say I love playing the guitar, but I'm never going to make money from it. Does it still count as my work?
Using the exact logic from the source material, yes, absolutely.
Even if it generates zero income?
Even then, you might need a job to pay your bills, to charge the battery of your life.
Right.
But you don't wait until retirement to play the guitar. You do it your whole life. That is your true vocation.
You do it today.
Exactly. Don't put the guitar in the attic until you're 65.
So synthesizing this whole philosophy, the overarching message is that life is for living actively, right up to the final moment.
We have to separate the treadmill of a job from the mountain climb of meaningful work.
And we have to stop viewing traditional retirement as a reward. It's a health hazard if it just means slipping into passivity.
Follow the wisdom of Shatner and the grandmothers. Stay actively involved.
Meet new challenges. Contribute to society.
And there's this incredible Zen quote mentioned in the material that sums it all up perfectly.
Oh, I love this quote.
It says, "When alive, just live. When dying, just die. When hungry, just eat. When sleepy, just sleep."
Basically, don't die emotionally or mentally before your body actually dies.
Right. While you're alive, just be fully alive.
So think about your weekends right now.
Yeah, take a hard look at them.
Do you use them merely to recover and escape from a job you tolerate? Or do you use them to practice the meaningful work you hope to never retire from?
It's the ultimate diagnostic test.
Here's the final thought. If you were handed $1 million tomorrow, what is the work you would do for free on Monday morning?
That's the question you have to answer.
Keep searching for your mountain. Keep climbing. And we'll see you on the next Deep Dive.